turn to somebody and tell them, you are the light of the world. All righty. We are the light of the world. And a city that is set on a hill should never hide its light. This is our time to remember that we should not hide our light, to remember who we are in God and what we're capable of being and expressing as beloved children of God. I want to say good morning to all of my brothers and my sisters. You're my brother and my sister. We are acknowledging that today is, of course, the 10th anniversary of 9/11, as we call it. Although I don't know how you might actually miss that fact, considering that it's been on television all of the whole week, right? That's all we've seen this past week. And while I certainly believe that it's good to remember and to honor those who perished, it's good to hear the stories of those who survived or those who have been impacted by that fateful day. But what I'm not so sure of is whether it's good to continually replay the scenes from that day, or to sear the image of it into our psyche, or to open the wounds of pain and grief for those who are experiencing that. But I thought about this. I thought the media wouldn't be the media if they couldn't somehow sensationalize an event, right? Because in their thinking, it's that sensationalism of an event or an experience that will draw you back to either that channel or to that newspaper or whatever it is. They have an ability to tap into or to touch that part of people that responds to mishaps or negativity or excitement or herd mentality. They respond, they tap into that part of us, and we have to admit this part of our nature, the part of us that kind of likes to look at the goriness of life, right? The police call it the looky-loos. When there's a tragic accident and you drive by, all of traffic is backed up, not because of the accident, but because of those who must what? Stop and look and see. Now, it's okay if you're going to offer a prayer, shed some light as you drive by. But there's a part of that human nature that might do that, but also it wants to see. See, it doesn't take much for the public to get caught up in mass consciousness or fear or the prevailing thought or belief or ideology of the day. And the media and other persons certainly play to that fact. Yes, we need to be aware of our surroundings and of anything that seems out of place. Yes, we need to have a sense of being on alert if we know that this is a time period that might cause others to engage in limited behavior. When I was driving in all along 50, I kept seeing police cars just parked on the highway. And when I got to New York Avenue, there were 5 policemen in uniform just all together, just walking, which is great, but I don't see that at any other time, but, which is fine to a certain degree. We need to be aware, we need to be alert, but I'm not so sure that we need to succumb to generalized fear, especially at this heightened time of transition and global change, whether fear is the energy that we want to tap into. Certainly there could be a higher energy that could help the situation other than fear, right? And we as light bearers and people who are awakened to a certain degree certainly know the benefit and the blessing that we could shed upon the world and our community by letting our light shine, letting our love flow. This is an interesting time in our evolution and in our growth. Yes, we are in the midst of planetary, social, economic, and spiritual transformation. We are in the midst of it now. Is there anybody here who does not have an idea that something is afoot? We're in the midst of it. Planetary change. We see the earth going through its transitions and its changes. Social norms have changed, and the economic situation across the planet, not just here, has changed. And so we are shifting into another level of evolution and growth. And change is apparent on several levels. And if you cannot see it or feel it, then I'm going to ask you to take your head out of the sand and recognize that transformation is happening. Now, some people believe that, we are in the end times, as spoken of in the scriptures, because we certainly do see an increase of earthquakes and hurricanes and wildfires and tsunamis and famine, economic challenges and breakdowns of our standard institutions. Yes, that's all happening, and the Bible did speak to that. It's almost as if, life is saying, ready or not, change is here. Ready or not, evolution is taking place. Ready or not, transformation is here. So we might as well be ready for it, right? We might as well get on the other end of the readiness, being in a state of readiness. But what I want to be clear on, friends, is that what is ending is not necessarily the world, although we better take better care of Mother Earth, who feeds us, houses us, clothes us. But what is not ending is the world, but the old paradigm, the old consciousness, the old behaviors that no longer serve us well, that is shifting and changing, and rightly so. Someone sent me an email, and I thought, wow, this was so profound. And I wanted to share it. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see it. I think Tracy is downstairs. I had her make it into a slideshow. And she put some of it up there, but I'll read it. It says, if you could fit the entire population of the world into a village consisting of 100 people, maintaining the proportions of all the people on earth, that village would consist of 57 Asians, 21 Europeans, 14 Americans, that is North, Central, and South, and 8 Africans. There would be 52 women and 48 men. There would be 30 Caucasians and 70 non-Caucasians. There would be 30 Christians and 70 non-Christians, 89 heterosexuals and 11 homosexuals. 6 people, now this is out of 100, would possess 59% of the wealth, and they would all come from the USA. 80 would live in poverty. 70 would be illiterate. 50 would suffer from hunger and malnutrition. 1 would be dying, and 1 would be being born. 1 would own a computer, and 1, yes, only 1 would have a university degree. If we looked at the world in this way, the need for acceptance and understanding would be obvious. But consider again the following. If you woke up this morning in good health, You have more luck, and we don't believe in luck, but that's what it says here. You have more luck than 1 million people who won't live through the week. If you've never experienced the horror of war, the solitude of prison, the pain of torture, were not close to death from starvation, then you are better off than 500 million people. If you can go to your place of worship without fear that someone will assault or kill you, then you are luckier than 3 billion, that's right, 3 billion people. If you have a full refrigerator, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, and a place to sleep, you are wealthier than 75% of the world's population. If you currently have money in the bank or in your wallet or a few coins in your purse, you are one of 8 of the privileged few among the 100 people in the world. If your parents are still alive and still married, you are a rare individual. If you are reading this message, you are extremely lucky because you don't comprise one of those 2 billion people who can't read. And so it says, work like you don't need the money, love like nobody has ever hurt you, dance like nobody is watching, sing like nobody is listening, and live as if this was paradise on earth. And apart from that, have a great day. And I thought that was powerful when I read that, because it does put things in perspective, does it not? First of all, how blessed we are. And secondly, that something seems amiss. Something seems out of whack if the majority of the people, see, we forget because we live in these United States, and we live relatively full of prosperity and blessings, but we forget that the majority of people on the planet do not live like we do. And so there's something, I think, that's amiss. Something of an old consciousness and a paradigm about the way things are that needs to shift. When you put it in this perspective, it's clear that something has to happen. Because what we are witnessing and what we have just heard and read is the result of unconsciousness. It is the result of acting out from a lower vibration, from greed or selfishness or fear or competition or power plays or the need for control, all of which must change, die out, and change if we are going to grow. The paradigm that is going to enable the world to exist would have to include things of love and sharing and cooperation, and harmony and oneness and connectedness. There's enough food on the planet that we could feed everybody. There really is. There's enough of the knowledge we have about health and wholeness that people could have health care all over the planet. There's enough if we could come into seeing a different paradigm of our oneness and our connectedness that we would begin to build houses for one another, feed one another, make sure that there's clean water for folks. We could build wells. I mean, there's so much more that's being called for. And what's happening is we are shifting into the new paradigm of being able to do that. All of the external changes that we see out here are the result of our internal and inner thought forms and beliefs and paradigms that we thought the way the world is. You see? From a limited perspective, a limited consciousness, a lower consciousness, a consciousness that does not necessarily yet see the connection that we are all connected, the connection of the earth, we're connected to one another, we're connected to all life forms, we're connected to life itself. That's the new paradigm and the new understanding that's necessary for us to move into our next phase of evolutionary growth. And so sometimes there has to be a breaking down before there can be a building up. Sometimes, the foundation has to be shaken so that which is weak, that which is no longer strong and viable and useful can fall away. But from the complete breakdown of the old way of being and thinking and living and relating to one another and to life, from the destruction and the devastation that we see on the planet and with one another, from all of that, we will awaken and rise up to a new and higher way of being. This is the next new frontier. It isn't the discovery of some new, material thing. We know we can do that. We can go to the moon. Who knows what else we'll create. And we'll keep on creating great things. That's wonderful. But it will all be for naught if we don't take this next step in consciousness. This is what we're doing. We just said that there's a newness of life that we're trying to step into it. But we have to be ready for it, ready so that we can withstand this wonderful change of energy. Because this is actually an exciting time. Because we're moving into conscious awareness of the spiritual dimension of life and how to actually bring heaven on earth. We're moving into, wow, there's something else beyond the physical and material plane of life. There's something else beyond just our basic survival that will help us to survive, and it is that spiritual dimension. We're being prompted to step into this new way of being and thinking and seeing, of really understanding and really living out, acting out, demonstrating the truth. See, that we are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by spiritual laws. We're just coming to that awakening, to that understanding. But we're beginning to act that out, to live that out. And when we do, we're beginning to see that all of life really is spiritual in nature. That everything is spiritual in nature. Everything is energy, everything is vibration, everything is spirit. And we're just awakening to that. And it's wonderful. So what that says is that we're going to move to a place where we must honor all life as sacred. The planet, the animals, right? And one another. And so we're holding. There'll be a time in which we will not let other people starve. I've been praying for the people of Somalia that in this day and age, there'd be so many people who are hungry and thirsty. Literally, when there is no need for that. And so we're moving into wonderful times. You're here as a wonderful representative of spirit to do a great and a mighty work. Now, I know that it may look a little scary these times that we're in, and it may feel a little unsettling for us to undergo all of these changes. It may even feel a little chaotic. But we have to continue to move more than ever before into a higher consciousness. We've got to have our consciousness shored up so that we would cease from seeing this sense of separation. Separation between people, separation between, life, separation between the dimensions of life, separation between the spiritual realm, the physical realm, the mental realm, the emotional realm. We compartmentalize. So that's over here and this is over here. It's all one. One. And what we're doing is letting the spirit filter through all the different expressions, but it's all one expression. So what we have to look at is, this sense of separation is to cease that, because that's what produces sin and evil and negativity. Emily Cady in our book says that a sense of separation is what produces, negativity and error consciousness. Because if I believe that I am separate from you, it then becomes easier for me to then ignore you, abuse you, right? If I think I'm somehow separate from you, then it becomes easier for me to see you less than me, or not worthy, or it's easy for me to take from you or to withhold from you, and maybe even to annihilate you, because you are separate from me. And the great truth that we are awakening to is that there is no separation. We are all one. One. Yes, diverse expressions of life, but it's all life. It's all the expression of God on this planet. And so we're awakening. The next step is to awaken to our oneness, because that's going to be our saving grace. It's the understanding that life is connected. All of life is connected, and that all of life is spiritual. So how do you then bring the spiritual lens into your life, into your physical reality? See, don't keep, there are spiritual essence and principles that apply to your physical manifestation. How do you bring spirit into your physical body? What would happen if we were to bring spiritual principles into business practices? Why do we think business is over here and spirit's over here? You need to bring spirit into the business world. We need to bring spirit into the physical world. We need to bring spirit into the emotional and mental, into every realm. See, in every realm has to be lifted up in spirit. We need to unleash the emotional qualities of love and compassion and understanding and forgiveness into all of our relationships. It's going to be your ability to stay centered in the consciousness of spirit that is actually going to move you and sustain you as we go through these planetary, evolutionary, social, cultural changes, through all the changes that will happen in your life. It's going to be your ability to be centered and grounded in that consciousness of spirit that's going to enable you to move. Because, see, you can no longer afford to compartmentalize your life. You can't just acknowledge, the spiritual realm occasionally on the World Day of Prayer or on Sundays or when you come to church. It now has to be a permanent part of your being, friends. Your vibration has to be high if you're going to overcome the vibration and the expressions of fear, limitation, lack consciousness that's held in the race consciousness. If your vibration is not higher than the race consciousness out here, you will succumb to what's out here. You'll be sucked into it. You'll be living in fear and experiencing that low vibration. This is what we're being called to do energetically, to raise our vibration. A simple way to do that is to practice the state of gratitude. Because everything is vibration, right? We know that we draw to us whatever you're vibrating. Love, fear, whatever. Job said, that which I feared has what? Come upon me. So so what you want to do is be able to vibrate on a certain level so that you draw to you that higher vibration. And the simple way to do that, one of the simple ways, it doesn't have to be all mystical and metaphysical, practice gratitude. Practice praise, thanksgiving, gratitude, joy. Because if you can emote any of those thoughts and feelings, that energy of that thought will raise your vibration. Those are vibrations that are high, and they will nullify any lower vibration. Because what we have to understand is, this is important why you don't want to allow yourself to feed into the vibration of the masses who don't understand their role in what's happening, who don't understand their part that they're playing in creating. And so you want to vibrate at a level above that mass consciousness or race consciousness. You've got to be adamant about your role of raising your vibration so that other people will begin to respond to the truth and to the light and to the God that's in you. Remember, darkness cannot overcome the light, right? The light always overcomes darkness. And a lower vibration cannot overcome a higher vibration. But a higher vibration can transmute a lower one. That's how the laws work. So even if, there are lots of people out there operating on the low vibration, the moment you institute that higher vibration of love and light and God and power and peace and prayer and truth, that supersedes the low vibration and it nullifies the effect. That's the work that we have to do as light bearers. So ready or not, transformation is here. And there are going to be some things that we should do that we can do to be ready for it. And there are going to be other things that you just can't prepare for in the outer. Unexpected things will happen. See, the earthquake just showed up, right? We couldn't prepare for it. It just started shaking and boom. But the hurricane, we had forewarning of that event, so therefore we could take precautions and we could kind of prepare for that a little bit. And yet, even in our preparation for that event, we could not really literally control its effects. You might have, when I went out shopping and all of that, but it didn't do me any good because my refrigerator went out and, So there are going to be some things that we'll prepare for and others that we can't. So those external preparation, the things that we do in the outer, is always good to do, but they may or may not sustain you when you're being tossed to and fro with the shifting that's taking place in energy. And so what we need to be about is inner preparation. That's the only thing that's going to ground you and sustain you. And the time to start your inner preparation is right now. I was looking at our bulletin and I'm thinking, this is so important to me. And I have, made an opportunity to increase the opportunity for you all to engage in a collective consciousness, a collective vibration that we're trying to set here in this church, collective meditation. We have now, of course, the first Wednesday of the month, silent unity meditation. We've now increased, and we have every other Friday, there's a meditation group that takes place. We've added a new mindfulness meditation group that takes place once a month. We have oneness blessings and meditation every day at the old church. See, we had our World Day of Prayer. There's a reason why I'm increasing the opportunity for you to increase your vibration. Yet these things are attended by only a select few. Now I'm trying to help y'all get ready. I don't understand it because, I do understand it. But I know that there is in you that which knows what you need to be about and what you need to do. If you want to be a 15-watt bulb, you can do that. But 150 watts worth of energy is preparing to come into the, consciousness. We need to raise our vibration. What we're doing is creating an environment for the building of a collective consciousness that will anchor you. It will anchor you in spirit when the collective consciousness of the masses is running rampant. I'm trying to get you anchored in another consciousness. Some of you will fall prey to that mass consciousness and the effects of it, all right? And others of you who have raised your vibrations will be the light in the darkness. You have to make the decision which camp you're going to fall into. But I'm asking you, what are you doing to prepare for the shift of energy? What are you doing to prepare inwardly? What does your spiritual life look like? Do you have a spiritual practice that you can practice every day? Or is it just coming to church? I want you to come to church, but it's every day. Church is every day. So you know what? Raising your vibration, why don't you just take this one simple activity, 5 minutes in the morning when you get up. Each morning, I want you to express gratitude and thankfulness, not just for things and the things that are in your life, that's a given, but just practice the art of gratefulness and gratitude because it's a vibration that is high and that will shift you and move you to a higher level and an expression. It'll change your vibration just by being thankful. I was looking at the sun. I said, thank you for the sun. Thank you for the, whatever. Everything, just get into that vibration because that is going to be the vibration that will heal you, heal this planet. Ready or not, transformation is here. And so this is what I'm thinking. Will you be a part of the mass consciousness or the consciousness of the masses, or will you be a part of the consciousness of the masters? It all depends on you. The choice is yours. I know I'm going to get ready for the consciousness of the masters. And so, ready or not, here it is. Blessings.